I love Resident Evil Village, and I know this video is like a week and a half late, but it's too good not to make. And I didn't play through the game on my channel, so it needs to be put out there. And I love it not because of a specific gun, or a certain boss battle, or a very tall vampire lady. No, I love it for a very different reason, and I'm curious if you all feel the same, or if any of you feel the same. So make sure to get your typey fingers ready. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, there's going to be no spoilers in this video. This footage is just pretty generic footage, so you don't have to worry about that. But this game is fantastic, and it did a number on me, and I can't stop thinking about it. Now, if you're looking for the video where I explain why I uploaded like 800 times this past weekend, that was yesterday. But today is all about Capcom, because I have realized that Resident Evil and Capcom, that is like my favorite current franchise, which blows me away because I would never tell you that a horror game from Capcom is my favorite. I'd say BioShock, I'd say I love everything Nintendo, but I think right now in 2021, this franchise is top of the heap. Of the last 4 releases, I love 3 of them, and 1 is pretty darn good. I cannot say that about any other current running franchise. It's remarkable. And it's not because of some certain mechanic. It's not because it has the best graphics. It's because these games emphasize gameplay mechanics and they take you on a journey. They do things how we used to do them back in 2007, 2008, and 2009. And this is where it gets very specific to me and where you might disagree, but it needs to be said. Resident Evil Village is a game how I feel games are meant to be, because it sticks with you, it's memorable, and you don't soon forget it. It's a thrill ride, it's an experience. And why is it that way? Because the game designers take us on the journey. Too often these days, games encourage us to go on a journey that we forge. And that can be fun with friends, and that can be fun for a diversion. But me, the person that really got entrenched in this industry, in the era where games were single player, linear, big bombastic characters, amazing set pieces, and remarkable mechanics that integrated beautifully with the world around them, that is what Resident Evil Village is. It feels like it's from a time long forgotten. And I don't know when we'll get another game like this. I'm not expecting it to be anytime soon. And that might sound crazy because my initial expectation of Resident Evil Village was that I would not even get a few hours in. And I should have known better because my pattern with RE7 is the same pattern with RE8, where I start off terrified because I'm a wimp when it comes to horror. I sweat my way through the first hour, and then I fall in love with the mechanics. Because don't get me wrong, it's not just the idea of Resident Evil Village. I think they do have really fun mechanics. I think the combat is pretty darn cool. I think the upgrade system, the merchant is fantastic. Big old Duke selling you all of his wares. I think the environments, the locations, the attention to detail. This is something that I've spoken on over the decade of my YouTube career, where like games like Uncharted, they put just the extra oomph. Games like Dead Space, they take extra time to make sure that these worlds are fully realized and it feels like a living, breathing place. Because yes, it's a game, but immersion to me is incredibly important. And it's the issue of like, I am so easily thrown out. I'm so easily deterred and taken out of the emotion of the moment. And it's weird that a game about witches and fishmen and creepy drill arm amalgamations is what does it for me, but it's not because it's so realistic and it's not because it's so plausible. It's because they invested in the creativity and they invested in the entire package. They tried to take you on a ride as if it was Walt Disney World, and you entered, you sat in the car and you went through, you rode the track, and yet they do incorporate modern day elements. I think the village being this sort of pseudo hub, it's in no way open like an open world, but it does have forward thinking ideas that progress the linear single player game concepts beyond what they were in 7, and definitely beyond what they were back in my heyday of like, BioShock, Batman Arkham, and Dead Space. And honestly, Resident Evil Village, it made me think about BioShock maybe more than I should have. That might sound like the ramblings of a crazy person, but I think these two games are quite similar in the fact that they invest in their larger-than-life characters and they invest in their locales that are all distinct, yet come together to form a consistent world. You know, we don't have, this is the cafeteria and this is where they grow the food and these are the apartments, but we do have the factory where Heisenberg divines these strange machine creations, and we do have the castle, and we do have the underwater fishman area, and we do have the village where the lay people live, and we do have the altar where the giants reside, and it really does feel like a living, breathing world. And I think the creativity there taps into my love of Disney and my love of movies, my love of fantastical worlds and theme parks, because it's unified, and yet there's ingenuity, right? There's uniqueness, and there is just very special creativity placed that is only achievable with, I believe, fantastical elements, at least for me. Like, I frankly don't care how they grow the food in The Division, and I really don't care where they bunk up and sleep in Far Cry, and I'm not sure I give any concern about where they eat in Fortnite. It just doesn't matter to me. And part of that is those games don't emphasize it that much, and part of it is I just find the fantastical element to be intriguing. It takes someone's unique imagination to invent a world where a super large Duke is in charge of the guns, and where a strange Mother Miranda has a whole crew of crazy kids. And I think that's something that the game did really well as well, is it revealed exciting elements without spoiling. I feel like so many trailers, so many games, they lay their cards out and they're like, here is what our game is. And because their emphasis is on the player creating their own moments, there's not really a whole lot of set pieces to reserve for that surprise spectacle. And yet Resident Evil Village, their marketing and their trailers show like the first 2 hours of the game, and everything else then is for you to uncover for the first time. That's really truly special, and it speaks to how many great moments they have in the game and how many great areas they have in the game. The fact that they blew what effectively could be their best character in their best area, but they were confident that they had enough behind for the other 3/4 of the game, and they were right. It was okay to show Lady D in the castle because there also was so much more. I think the performances are also spectacular. Games that invest heavily in these things, where the animations are so believable, it all plays into my wanting to be immersed. And it doesn't matter if it is realistic or not, as long as the way they go about it is very true to life. And I feel like they did. I mean, you see the detail in these scenes. A story is told in virtually every room you enter. From the beginning, where the village is freaking out about werewolves, to all the way to the end, where you're really uncovering the depths of the story and what actually is going on. And there's twists and their turns, and some are corny and some are cute. But I really just love that they take you on that journey, and they thought it out, they fleshed it out, and they do have the gameplay to back it up. You know, it is a little bit old-fashioned, but that's why I like it. Like, you're going around and picking everything up, and you're trying to decide which weapons you're going to use and which ones you're going to upgrade, and it's very gamey in that way. It's not trying to be, you know, the modern Marvel that lasts for 500 hours. It's not trying to have you playing every day. You don't need to buy skins for your character. It's like, hey, we're 8.5 great hours. Get in, get out. But these are the ones that we remember, at least for me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but these are the games that stick with us. You might have a moment in a multiplayer game that sticks with you, but is that the game, or is that your experience that you're bringing to the game? I love it when the game is the thing that sings. I love it when it's the world that speaks to me. I love it when it is the actual designers designing. They built their theme park and they invited me in, and the price of admission was less than half of a Disneyland ticket. It was $60. And I had a freaking great time. Resident Evil 9 seems like it's going to be really cool, and I hope that they continue along this more fantastical path. I think it's just so cool. They've got great taste. I mean, yes, there's a lot of really gross elements, and I freaking hated the doll section, but it did nothing to stop me from enjoying what is a meticulously imaginative and amazingly created world. And I wish more games would do this. I wish more games would stop trying to be huge, stop trying to be open world, stop trying to have 1 million checkboxes, stop trying to have 100 players, stop trying to last for 500 hours, and stop trying to be meme worthy, and instead deliver something that is what we used to get so many of. There were so many releases like this back a decade ago, and now they're just very few and far between. Think of another game like Resident Evil Village this year. Think of it. And it doesn't have to be horror, it doesn't have to be mature rated. I'm totally down for more games that take us to fantastical places. But these games are the special ones, where the world and the characters, the moments, the sequences, they just stand above the rest for me. And so I love Resident Evil Village despite being a scaredy cat, despite jumping at every freaking movement the first few hours. By the end, I was empowered, I was excited, and I was super eager to see what the heck was going on with Ethan Winters and Chris Redfield and Mia and Mother Miranda. It really just, I feel like it invades you. And it's because the game took us for a ride. It's because when you put down your $60 and you grabbed your controller and you buckled up, whoosh, they just took you. Maybe I'm a lazy gamer, but I don't want to have to divine my own fun. I don't want to have to figure out the perfect path. I don't want to have to decide what elements of the game world I want to interact with and which ones I don't. I just want you to show me what you got. I want the developers to showcase their best efforts. I want to know why you spent hundreds of millions of dollars, infinite man hours, and so many years working on this project. I just want to see it, and I want to experience it, and I want the thrills, maybe the chills, but I just want that passion to ooze forth on the screen, and I want that creativity on display. I paid for this product, so I feel like it's only fair that I get to relax, sit back, and enjoy the show. And Resident Evil Village is one heck of a show. I could go on and on about the little moments and the details, the things that I liked so much about the combat and the systems, my favorite levels. I really do like Moreau. But man, that factory, I will never forget. It's like the perfect mix of Doom, Wolfenstein, and Resident Evil and BioShock all in one. Oh my gosh, the enemies, they're creepy but creative. The story goes places, and the characters and the performances, spot on. Resident Evil Village is a phenomenal game, and if you have a chance to experience it and you can stomach it, I highly encourage you to do so. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know if you miss games like this, because we really don't get too many. Until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I love you a lot. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there. Until next time, drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later.